See what is SA 402 talking about. If SA 402 is audit consideration relating to an entity using a service organization. There are two types of reports which is like really important in this particular SA. One is type 1 report and type 2 report. Type 1 report, what is the major difference is, this is a specification or a description by the management of service organization about their system, control objectives and related controls that have been implemented as at a specified date. So this is implemented as at the specified, the report is given at a specified date. A report by service auditor conveying reasonable assurance and includes his opinion. So this report includes service auditors conveying reasonable assurance and his opinion. So type 2 report. So type 2 report also, the description by the management, same thing about their system, control objectives and related controls, their design and implementation, everything is similar, but this is type 1 report it is only at a specified date, but type 2 report includes at a specified date as well as throughout a specified period. It can be at a specified date and also throughout a specified period. And also, here it includes a report by the service auditor conveying the reasonable assurance and includes his opinion. Here also, it includes the service auditors conveying reasonable assurance and includes his opinion and description about the test of controls and results thereof. There is one line extra which is the description about the test of controls and results thereof. So apart from type 1 and type 2 reports, there are few things that we have to see in this particular essay. One is the auditor has to perform following audit procedures. What are the audit procedures that auditor has to perform? Obtaining an understanding of the service provided. How do you obtain the understanding of the services provided? You understand the nature of the service, nature and materiality of the service, nature of relationship between the service organization and the entity, then degree of interaction between those two. So these things you check. Then, sources to obtain information. What are the sources to obtain the information? User manual, system overviews, technical manuals. User manuals, technical manuals, system overviews, reports by the service organization and reports by the service auditor. These are the things that we consider for sources to obtain information. Then you understand, the auditor should understand the relevant controls, design and their implementations. Then further procedures. This is kind of important because this is asked in one of the questions. What is it? Further procedures when sufficient understanding cannot be obtained. What are the further procedures that auditor has to perform when sufficient understanding cannot be obtained? One is obtaining type 1 and type 2 reports, then contacting service organization, visiting service organization. First you call them, contact them. If they are not responding, then visit the service organization. Using another auditor to perform procedures. There are 4 things. These are further procedures when sufficient understanding cannot be obtained. One is obtaining type 1 and type 2 reports, contacting service organization, visiting service organization, then using another auditor to perform the procedures. Then information obtained from sub-service organization. So this is again asked in one of the questions. So what are the information that we have to obtain when service organization using the work is using the work of sub-service organization? One is controls. What are the controls at sub-service organization? Then degree of interaction between whom? Sub-service organization and service organization. Then nature and materiality. Same thing. So same thing, whatever was there in obtaining understanding of the service organization, same thing we have to continue here. What is that? Degree of interaction, nature of materiality. Then sufficient understanding of the nature and significance of services. Sufficient understanding. Not just understanding, it is sufficient understanding of the nature and significance of the services. Unable to obtain understanding. If you are not able to obtain understanding, then obtain the reports. Then there is something called inclusive and carve out methods. What is this inclusive method? Inclusive you include sub-service organization's control objectives and relevant controls in your service organization description and in the scope of service auditor's engagement. If it is carved out, then you exclude. Exclude what? Sub-service organization's control objectives, relevant controls and service organization in what? Sub-service organization description and in its scope. Then, if type 1 and type 2 reports exclude sub-service organization's control, that is carve-out method, then the user auditor is required to apply the requirements as per SA 402. One interesting question regarding this carve-out method. So this is asking you regarding the unmodified audit report provided by the service auditor. Can user auditor use the same? there is some report which is provided by the service auditor, correct? So, and it is unmodified audit report. If that can be used by the user auditor for his opinion, like for drawing his opinion, is it possible? That is the question. It is not possible, because if there is any unmodified, as long as, and if the law requires, then he can use it, but the user auditor shall also indicate that the reference does not diminish user auditor's responsibility, correct? So he should also, if he is using the service auditor's report which is unmodified, he should clearly state that the reference does not diminish his responsibility for audit opinion. So this is what we have to consider in this particular question, which is really nice.